Alright squad, welcome back to part 2 of this 3-part chaos saga, where Russia is trying to slide back into the Baltic Sea like it never got kicked out. So boom, early 1700s, Peter I, aka Big Pete, is mad pressed about losing beach access and clout in past wars. So to fix that, he forms the Northern Alliance, aka the Avengers, with Denmark and Saxony, basically saying, you know what, let's just jump Sweden. But the problem is, Sweden is still him, and so is King Charles XII. While a literal baby-faced war demon, he is not playing. In 1700s, Russia and France pull up thinking it's gonna be a quick 3v1 curb stomp, but no, Sweden's on fire. At Narva, Russian troops outnumber the Swedes hard, but they're basically LARPing while Sweden's out here built like Spartans. Russia gets clapped. Denmark and Saxony goes to group chat, and now Peter's left on red, solo versus a cracked out Sweden. But instead of rage quitting, Peter enters his villain mode. 1701 onwards, he's cooking something nasty. Rebuilding the army, tweaking the economy, and plotting a comeback so hard it deserves a Netflix documentary.
If you're new here, welcome to Kronos History, where we break down the greatest moments in history and turn them into greater stories. Whether you're bored, learning, or somewhere in between, we've got something cooked up for you to keep you entertained. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Post-Narva, Peter realizes his army's running Windows 95. So the old setup, Streltsy, musketeers, random peasant mobs, and vibes. Not gonna cut it anymore. So he hits reset. By 1705, it's full-on conscription. One dude per 20 to 30 households. Lifetime service, no takesies backsies. Bye-bye temp squad, hello standing army. Fully decked out infantry, cavalry, and artillery, all following European cheat codes. Cavalry gets a mobility buff. Infantry gets standard fits, and everyone's running coordinated loadouts like it's Call of Duty. But Narva also exposed a massive oops. Nobody really knew how to lead, so Peter starts importing foreign pros from Scotland, France, and Germany. He also ships off Russian nobles to go study abroad how to war. Officer schools pop up, and in 1701, he opens a math and boom academy in Moscow to train artillery dudes, engineers, and fort builders. And here's the twist. Officers can now be from the bottom rungs of society. Meritocracy unlocked, nobles are shook. Artillery, well, Peter calls it the god of war, and not the chill kind. After Narva, he's got nothing left, so he starts pumping out cannons and muskets in the Urals and Tula like it's an arms factory on steroids. Artillery units start training hard, doing drills and live fire practices. Engineer squads start leveling up too, digging trenches, building redoubts, and flexing fortification skills like Minecraft pros. Meanwhile, soldiers stop looking like crusty peasants. They're suited up, muskets, bayonets, boots, and matching fits. The discipline is ruthless. You loot, you're done. You run, you're done. They even roll out official army rules and logistic systems to make sure food and ammo actually show up this time. Despite getting his teeth kicked in at Narva, Pete still wants Baltic beachfront. So after his army gets that upgrade, he sets his sights on Ingria, prime real estate between Lake Lagoda and the Gulf of Finland. So in 1701, Charles XII is off fighting in Poland. So our Pete slides in. At the Battle of Erastfur, Russian forces led by Sheremetyev hand Sweden its first L of the war. It's not just a win, it's an absolute ego reset. In 1702, they double down at Hamilshöv, and Sweden starts sweating. Then comes the big flex at Nordberg. This fortress is guarding the Neva like a final boss. So Russia rolls up in October 1702, throws down artillery and siege games, and finally takes it. Peter renames it Schlüsselburg, which is German for key fortress, because this place is the real gateway to the Baltic. Next up is Nine Chance, sitting pretty at the Neva's mouth. Russia snatches it in spring 1703, and Pete wastes no time, slaps down blueprints, and builds St. Petersburg, like it's Minecraft creative mode. The Peter and Paul fortresses get planted, and by year's end, ships are sailing out the docks. Russia just got a coast, and Peter just dropped his new city. This is the window to Europe moment. St. Petersburg means Russia no longer is landlocked and lame. It can now trade, flex, and chill with Western Europe like a main character. It's not just a military W, it's a cultural one. Peter's empire is evolving, and the West now has to deal with it. Alright, it's finally revenge time. It's 1704. Pete's army is finally ripped and rage-fueled, and he's eyeing two targets, Dorpa and Narva. Dorpa's got historical vibes, and Narva is still the site of Russia's biggest ill in the war, so it was time to fix that. In May, Sheremetyev's forces pull up to Dorpa and siege mode activates. Swedes try to hold, but Russia's siege game is just way too strong now. New artillery, better engineers, and actual strategy. So, GG. By July, Dorpat folds. Russia now runs most of Livonia and is creeping towards Riga. The Narva rematch, oh, don't you worry, it's coming. And this time, Peter's not showing up with a cosplay army. He's got receipts. So, Peter the Great pulls up to Narva in July 1704 like, rematch time, bitch. This was where Russia got clowned back in 1700, and Peter's still salty about it. Man personally micromanages the whole siege like he's on Zoom call with God. Meanwhile, Charles XII is busy playing Risk in Poland and doesn't even send backup. Narva's defenses are absolute trash. The walls look like expired IKEA. So the Russian engineers go ham. Trenches, mines, redoubts, the whole Pinterest board. You know it. Then on the night of August 8th to 9th, Russia hits that city with a 3 AM surprise drop. They swarm in from every direction like ants on a cookie. And after a few hours of ultra-violence, boom, Narva is Russian now. Peter finally gets his who's laughing now moment. He tells his guys to chill on the war crimes, but you know, it's 1700s, and the vibes are very specific. So the looting goes wild anyway. Meanwhile, in Pastor Gluck's house, Russian soldiers find some random maid named Marta Skavronska just trying to mind her own business. Girl's a peasant, orphaned early, probably doing some laundry or dodging cannonballs or some shit, but she gets scooped up and ends up in a Russian officer's house where Peter sees her and is like, wow. Fast forward, she becomes Catherine I, Peter's wife and first ever empress of Russia. Yes, a literal war orphan turned mob girl is about to found a royal dynasty. You can't make this shit up. Disney could never. By 1704, Russia's Baltic takeover is in full swing. They've clutched Dorpa and Narva, which aren't just dubs, they're revenge trophies. They're the real proof that Peter's rebranded army isn't just for show. These wins slap internationally, and Peter's confidence bar is now maxed out. Also, Catherine's main character arc is just getting started in the background, low-key brewing under all the military madness. Now, Charles XII, fresh off his 1700 win at Narva, decides, no, not Russia yet. How about we wreck Poland instead? His first enemy, Augustus II, King of Poland and a low-key hater. Charles invades the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and Saxony like it's GTA. In 1702, he bodies Augustus at Klizow, even though the guy had more troops. Classic underdog slay. Then in 1704, Charles straight up changes Poland's settings. He gets a squad of nobles to cancel Augustus and crown his own pick, Stanislav Leszczynski, basically a Swedish fanboy with royal cosplay energy. But Poland's a hot mess. Some support Augustus and others Stanislav. And now it's civil war o'clock. You know how that goes. By 1705, Stanislaw gets the crown, but he's just Sweden's puppet. In 1706, Charles raids Saxony, corners Augustus, and makes him rage quit the game via the Treaty of Altenstadt. Augustus drops the crown, acknowledges Stanislaw, and hands over Peter's allies like an absolute snitch. Russia's now out here solo, no allies, no backup, just vibes and trauma. By late 1706, Sweden is looking stacked. Poland's conquered, Saxony is out, and Charles thinks he's untouchable. His 40k army, all vets, and his plan is to yeet into Russia with lightning speed war and expect the nobility to fold like last time. But Charles detours through Ukraine, hoping to squat up with Cossacks' boss, Ivan Mazepa, who is not vibing with Peter anymore. Charles thinks the Russian army is weak and the nobles will betray Peter after just one L. Pretty bold of him to assume. Sweden controls Poland, flexes over Lithuania, and has big boss energy. Meanwhile, Peter's been grinding. Russia now holds key Baltic cities, St. Petersburg is under construction, the navy's getting buff, and the army's leveled up. Charles thinks he's gonna steamroll Russia like it's the 1700s again. But spoiler alert, he forgot Russia has winter, distance, and petty energy on its side. So that was video 2 of 3 in this cursed historical trilogy. Next up, everything goes sideways, like really sideways. So hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment if you think you could snatch a bigger baddie than Catherine the First. Stay tuned for more, and see you in the next one.